Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, brothers and sisters. I am Dr. Stanley Maposa, and I'm back with my lessons, which are your lessons, called leadership lessons, which we do every Saturday at 10:30. Please join us, and subscribe to the channel, share the broadcast to others, like it and comment. Your comments are very, very critical for us to be able to adjust and improve. Your comments are also encouraging us to continue and do the work that we are doing. So today I'm going to be talking about pitfall number 4. Pitfall number 4 in doing things or not doing things. Something that enables us not to do things that we intend to do, that makes work to be undone. And that thing is called being unsystematic. Being unsystematic. Last week we talked about doing too many things at once. But now we're talking about being unsystematic, failing to be systematic. A system is something that's interconnected. A system is something that is interdependent. A system is something that has linkages, collaborations, connections, and networks. That's being systematic. And the opposite of being systematic is being haphazard. The opposite of being systematic is being chaotic. The Bible says when God created the world, the earth was so chaotic. It was not systematic until the Holy Spirit was hovering upon the surface of the earth. And then God spoke a word. And when God spoke a word, he brought systems. He brought trees. He brought life. He brought things from an unsystematic and chaotic place. So as we speak right now in these leadership lessons to leaders, this word that we speak, these words that we speak, this communication that we do, is aimed at bringing in systematicness from chaoticness. Some of these words bring systems in the chaos that we have in your life. And we are helping you through these words, through these discussions, as we speak the words, to bring about system in your life. And you need to be systematic as a leader, as an individual. And I'm speaking to both leaders of organizations, but to leaders as individuals, because I believe that as an individual, leadership starts from an individual, and it moves to a family. And from a family it moves to society, and from society it moves to nations, and from nations it moves from global and to the universe. And that's what leadership is all about, levels of leadership. So everyone who's a leader need to be systematic. And when you are systematic, you are able to complete things. So it helps you to be complete, yourself to be complete, but to be able to then complete things, so that there are no things that are missing. So systematic thinking talks about things not missing. Systematic approach to goals is quite critical. So when you have your goals, you have written them down, as we have said, you have published them, you know them, you are working on them, maybe you are working on one of them at a time. You don't want to work on too many, because you don't have too much time and you don't have too much resources. You are concentrating on one goal, you are pushing one goal, you are pushing one agenda, you are pushing one hustle, you are pushing one issue. As a leader, you are pushing membership of your church, you are pushing quality of your members, you are pushing new customers, you are pushing customers, networks. Whatever your goal is, you are pushing a building, you have a project that you are pushing, then you need to be systematic in your goals. What that means is that you need to think through your strategy. You need to take time to think through your strategy in order to achieve each and every goal that you are pushing. Whatever goal you are pushing, you need to think strategically. You need to think through the strategy on how you are going to achieve each of your goals. That's the first thing that you need to do. The second thing, you need to also think about who should be responsible over what. You need to think about people. Who is going to be responsible over what? Because you can't be responsible over everything. You are limited. You are not unlimited. Who is going to be responsible over what? And when are these things going to happen? That's the time frame. And how will you know that you have achieved what you are doing? How will you know that you are making progress? So let me repeat these things. Who is responsible for what? That's personnel. Who is responsible for what? When are these things going to be done? How are we going to know that these things have been done? So these are the things that I'm going to discuss now in order to try and make you to be systematic, in order to try to speak to you so that you are systematic. So the first thing is about strategy and goals. That's number one. The strategy and the goals. What must we achieve? What are the specific goals? What are we supposed to achieve? So we need to understand the what. Whether you are a church, whether you are an NGO, whether you are a government, whatever you are, you need to be telling people as a leader, what are we achieving here? What are the specific goals that we are going to be achieving? What are the specific goals? What exactly are we doing here? What are we trying to get done here? For example, we're trying to make this house, to build this house. That's the goal. What are the specifications of this house? How big is it? How small is it? What are we going to use as material? When are we trying to finish this house? And why are we building it? Are we building it because others are building it? Are we building it because we want to show others that we can do it? Or we can build a better house than them? Are we building it because we want to make a statement that will make us feel good? Because we know we're not feeling good. We know who we are. And we think this house is going to make us feel good. We think this house is going to make us people. Or we're building this house because we think, because we have a house will attract more people as a church. Because we have a house will attract more customers on our business. Is it realistic? Is it true that a house attracts more people? Is it realistic that a house attracts more customers? All those things are critical. What are we trying to get done here? What are we trying to get done? Let's define our goals. Let's define our strategy. Let's answer those critical questions. Why are we doing this? Are we making a point to ourselves or are we making a point to others? The second thing that we need to look at, number two, when we want to be systematic to get things done, is the process and the structure. The process and the structure. I want to make a powerful statement here that structure follows strategy. Structure follows strategy. Strategy is the thought process, and the structure is then the drawing. You first of all think that I'm going to build a house, and then you come to the structure, which is the drawing, which is the architecture, which is bringing someone to draw this particular thing. So even in an organization, strategy is the first thing. What do you want to do? And then you bring people who now become the structure. There are many people that want to start with structure because they are already there. And even when you are drawing a strategy, they are seeing their name there. Hey, who's going to be the CEO? Who's going to be the executive director? Who's going to be the market? They are fighting for structures. They are fighting for positions. Who's going to be the president? Who's going to be the secretary general? Who's going to be the vice president? Who's going to be the publicity secretary? And people are fighting for positions before the structure has been set. What is the structure? And we need the structure. And is the structure speaking to the goals and the strategy? Is that structure delivering to the strategy? The structure must deliver to the strategy. Yeah, I want to be the bishop. I want to be the apostle there. I want to be the pastor. I want to be this. Do those roles and structure speak to the strategy? Speak to what is supposed to be done? Before Jesus put a structure and select his disciples, he had a strategy. And the strategy was to save those that are lost. He had a strategy why he came on earth. The Son of Man has come to seek and to find those that are lost. And then when he put up his structure, he called his 12 disciples, they were speaking to a structure. Many of us start with a structure. And we have 5 people that come together and they form a structure. And after the structure, then they develop a strategy. No ways. It can't be. So what is process and structure? It is about roles and responsibilities. Roles plus responsibilities. I love it because it is not only roles. Roles come with responsibilities. If you tell us that I am the project manager, please, project manager, be responsible. If you tell us that I am the pastor, please, pastor, be responsible. Don't just enjoy the role. If you say I am person, comrade chairperson, don't just enjoy the role, but fulfill the responsibilities of chairperson. If you say I'm the president, please, Mr. President or Miss President or Mrs. President, don't just enjoy the role, enjoy also the responsibilities that come with the role. The roles and responsibilities. What are the responsibilities of each person who is going to participate in this goal or in this project that you are doing? We've got a lot of people that have roles, but they have no responsibilities. And vice versa, we've got a lot of people that are responsible, that have responsibilities, and they have no roles. And in most cases, some people that have responsibilities don't have roles. So we need to be able to work on that and ensure that we deal with the process issues and the structure issues. Who is who in the zoo? What are the roles? They must be defined properly. And what are the responsibilities? What are the accountabilities of each and every person? And who is accountable for each aspect of the project? Who is the goal owner of each and every project? Who is driving what in this? I said sometimes when we talked in this leadership lesson that if you find a builder who will tell you that I know how to build, to bricklay, I know how to plaster, I know how to paint, I know how to roof, I know how to plumber, I know how to do electricity, I know how to do decorations. Run away from that builder, because that builder is going to just destroy your thing. There is no one like that under the sun. Or there are few people like that if they are there, if you are arguing. The best scenario is that you may know one or two of those things, But some of those the other things that you don't know, you will outsource. You will invite the electrician to come and help you do electricity. You will invite the plumber to come and help you do plumbing. You will invite the tiler to come and do tiling. You will invite the specialist in roofing to come and help you with roofing. The house will still be yours. The building will still be yours. The construction will still be yours. No one will take the glory. No one will say, this is not your thing. It's still your thing. But we have invited experts to come in and help you with different roles and different responsibilities so that you can finish your projects. Whether you are a pastor in a church, whether you are a business, whether you are in a civil society organization, whether you are wherever you are, you need to understand the roles and responsibilities. And sometimes the roles and responsibilities are not in-house. And some of them you have to outsource them. Some of them you have to bring them in for a short period to come and help you do one or two things. Who is accountable for each aspect of your goal? I repeat that. Why? Because where there is no accountability, there is no achievement, period. If there is no accountability, there is no achievement of anything. You need to be accountable to yourself. You need to be accountable to the goals. You need to be accountable to the project. You need to also be accountable to the beneficiaries of the project. So when you're doing a project, whatever it is, when you're doing a work, whatever it is, when you're doing an organization, a goal, whatever it is critical that there be accountability systems. Are there new processes to connect teams and the organization? So those are about process and structure. Are there processes that will connect your team with the organization? Are there processes that will connect your team with other organizations? Is your organization isolated? Are you isolated as a leader? Are you a walk alone, stand alone, live alone? Do you have networks and connections? Are there processes that enable that particular connection? There are a lot of people that fear connection because when they connect, they think that when they connect with others, they will take their ideas, they'll take their people, they'll take their resources. Or as they connect with people, with other people, people will expose their weaknesses. And therefore they want to remain isolated and be doing what they think they are doing. And that is a critical problem that we have seen over the years. Do you need to restructure your work? Do you need to restructure your labor force? Do you need to restructure your people that you are working with and be able to locate them to say, you, I see your capabilities are there, go there. I see your capabilities are with the youth, go and handle the youth. I see your capabilities are with the women, go and handle the women. You can put a man to handle the women's fellowship, and you can put a woman to handle men's fellowship. There's no way where it's written that men's fellowship must be handled by men, or women's fellowship must be handled by women. You can put a young person to handle older people based on capacity, based on ability, based on experience, based on passion, based on compassion, based on a number of things. You can restructure your organization and say, I see you have capabilities in IT. I'm moving you from administration, I'm putting you in IT. And I'm going to watch for 3 months, for 6 months to see how you are doing. If you are not coping, I'll take you back. Or if you're not coping, I'll take you to another place. And that's what a leader must be doing. And when you do that, you're developing people. You're developing your people. You're developing your resources. You're developing your human capabilities to be able to accomplish the goals that you are pushing. So if it's necessary to restructure, restructure. Many people don't like this word restructure, because when you say there's restructuring at work, people think that my job is gone, my position is gone. Yes, it may be gone, but you may be getting something better, or you may be getting to a place where you really can work better than before the restructuring happened. So we don't like restructuring. Restructuring means re-looking at the structure, repositioning people, repositioning resources, and so that you can be effective, especially after a new strategy has been developed. It is very, very necessary for restructuring to happen. If a new strategy has been developed and there is no restructuring that happens, that strategy was a joke. That strategy was just a tick box mechanism. If you are telling us that we are doing a new strategy in our organization, and we sit for 2 days, 3 days, 1 year, whatever month, and the new strategy is running just with the same structure, then it's a joke of the year, the joke of the season. There must be restructuring so that you can be able to attain the tenets or the requirements of the new strategy and goals. Number 3, the third thing that you need to do in order for you to be systematic is to look at what I call metrics and results. It's not an M, it's not a matrix, a metrics, M-E, M-E-T-R-I-C-S, metrics and results. What that simply means is that what should we measure? Since we are doing this project, what should we measure? How are we going to track progress? How are we going to know that we are making progress? We have the structure in place, we have the goals in place, but now we want to see how we measure progress. Going back to the building construction, you measure by levels. There's a foundation level, come and measure, it has been down, window level, roof level, all those are metrics that have been put in the construction industry. What about in a non-construction industry? If you tell us that we are going to, this year, we are going to reach out to 1,000 people, how do you measure that you are really making progress in reaching those thousands? Every week, are you measuring to say, this week, how many did we have? Maybe in our home cells, maybe in our small meetings, maybe in our main meeting. Do we have a system of counting numbers and be sure that we are counting new people and not double counting? How are we measuring that? If I say we're going to raise R1 million this year, how are we measuring that million? How are we counting those cents and those rands? What method is in place to measure and track progress? So we need to be tracking progress. At school, when you go to school, the teacher tracks progress by giving you a test. And when you write and you get 5 over 10, then the teacher knows that, no, that this person is not very bad, he's trying. When you get 10 over 10, oh, very good, you can go to the next concept now, you know. But if you get 0, or you get 1, the teacher must be worried that this person I've been teaching the whole week, and this fellow gets 0. It's either I have a problem, me, because I was not teaching properly, or this person that I'm teaching has a problem. So what do I do in order to make sure that this person understands, and the teacher then tries new strategies of teaching, because they are measuring. So what measure are you using? If you are saying, I want to grow these Christians so that they become knowledgeable of the word, how do you measure that they now know the word? How do you measure that they are growing spiritually? How are I measuring spirituality, that this person is now mature spiritually, I can now make them a leader of the youth? What instrument are you using? What litmus paper are you using to measure that? So you need to talk about those things. and be able to say, okay, maybe if they can quote 10 verses, it's a measure. Or if they can quote 20 verses, if they are leading prayer and they can quote 20 verses accurately, then that's our measure. It's a better measure than just guesswork to say maybe they are now coming to church regularly, or now they are giving more money. What is the measure? What is the measure of some of those things? When we measure something, ladies and gentlemen, leaders, when we measure something, we are communicating that progress and achievement are important. Anything that you measure, when you measure something, you'll be communicating that the progress and the achievement in that thing is important. So the reverse is true. When you are not measuring something, you are also telling us that progress and achievement in that thing is not important. Somebody says what we measure is what we do. Imagine if you went to school and there were no tests, there were no assignments, there were no homeworks. Surely you would not take that school seriously. You will not take that school seriously. So when we go to work and there is no performance agreement, there is no performance appraisal, there is no performance bonus to say those that have done well this year, here is their bonus. Everybody will not work. Because whether you are working or you are not, it's the same. Whether you are achieving or you are not achieving, it's the same. So everybody will sit down and read newspapers on the laptop. Everybody will sit down and read and write their UNISA assignments. Everybody will sit down and go to the coffee shop there, stand for 5 minutes and come back, because there is no measurement. This organization does not measure anything. There is no performance appraisal. There is no performance bonus. There is no incentives, nothing. So why do I push myself when there is no measure? So in other words, we focus as human beings, ladies and gentlemen, we focus our energy on what is measured. We focus on our energy on what we measure. If you know that the teacher gives 50%, you focus attention so that you can grow from 50% to 60 to 70 to 80. If the teacher was not giving anything, was not even marking, was not even reading your assignment, wow, you can't focus attention on that. So the same applies to any leadership environment, whether it's a church, whether it's at NGO, whether it's a business level or government. If there is no measure of anything, we're doing nothing. If there is no, in other words, measure and metrics and results simply talks about monitoring and evaluation. It's another word for monitoring and evaluation. If there is no monitoring and evaluation at work, if government was not monitored and evaluated, if there was no auditor general to be checking the books, there would be so much fruitless and wasteful expenditure. There will be so much crime. The one that you see now is very little because there is monitoring and evaluation. If we could wake up one day and we are told that the Auditor General's office has been closed, there is no Auditor General anymore in South Africa, I tell you, the level of corruption will be so roof-shattering. These days is there, but people are afraid. Auditors are coming. Auditors are coming. Monitoring and evaluation is coming. They're coming to check our impact. They're coming to check our outcomes. They're coming to check our outputs, our targets. I said I'm going to do 7 meetings. I must do 7 meetings before the end of the year. I said I'm going to produce 10 shoes per week. I must produce 10 shoes per week. And that keeps people doing things. That keeps people doing things because there is a measure. Don't just say, go to work and do what I do and see what you'll do there. You'll see what you'll do there. You'll also find something that you'll do there. I tell you, nothing will be done. Nothing will be done. Nothing will be done. And the last one that I'm going to finish with is called culture and behavior. Culture and behavior. I like to explain this word culture. Culture simply means the way of doing things where we are. And culture is dynamic. It changes according to geography. It also changes according to time. What is culture in Gauteng may not be culture in Mahikeng. What is culture in KZN may not be culture in Western Cape. So geographical. What was culture in 1960 may not be culture in 2021. So culture is dynamic, it changes. So if you want things to be done, address culture. And people must know that the culture of doing things must change. Each time there's a new leader, or each time there's a new year, or each time after 5 years, whatever you decide, there must be a change of culture in doing things. And without culture and behavior addressed, we are unsystematic, we are chaotic, and we can't do much. So culture must be addressed. Culture is about our traditions, it's about our values, it's about our customs, it's about our beliefs, it's about our norms. Culture actually is an umbrella term that covers all those things. And those things are very, very critical in how we do things. How we do things is determined by the culture. There's something that's called an organizational culture. The culture of your organization, the culture of your church, the culture of your company, the culture of your family. In your family, with your wife and your children, what's the culture of that home? And is that home, culture of that home, enabling people to grow, enabling your children to grow? Or is that culture enabling your children to go down? The culture of your organization. In your organization, who can speak? Who is allowed to speak? And who's not allowed to speak? Who's allowed to do things? And who's not allowed to do things? When so and so does this thing, is the reaction the same as when it has been done by so and so? That's the culture of the organization. If the elders have done something bad, is the reaction the same as when the non-elder, the young person, has done a similar thing? If they have all impregnated, is the same action done? Is the same punishment done? Is the same discipline, is the discipline applied consistently in the organization? Or is an animal farm environment where there are some people that are more equal than others. There are some people that are listened to than others. There are some people that are preferred than others. There are some people that are promoted than others. There are some people that are favored than others. When it's somebody's birthday, everybody claps. When it's somebody's birthday, no one does anything. When it's somebody's anniversary, the whole social media of the organization is booming. But the following day, somebody else's anniversary is quiet as if people are dead. What is the culture of your organization? What's the culture? And sometimes some people say culture is soft stuff. It's the last thing. I put it as number 4 as well. But I think culture is the hardest thing to change. And culture is very, very critical. In order to make changes systematically, culture is very, very critical. What are the values and the behaviors that we need to be encouraging in this organization? What are the values and the behaviors that we need to be encouraging in this church? What are the values and the behaviors that we need to be encouraging in our government so that things are done? I was told a long time ago that in government you put your jacket on a seat and you go. And people think that you are there and you have gone. I think it was an old government. You don't do that anymore. That's a culture. That's a culture. That's a culture change. So we need to be changing culture and saying what things need to be done differently, what things need to be done better here. What are the behaviors? The behaviors of greeting one another, the behaviors of saying thank you, the behaviors of respecting one another. Those small things, soft as they may be, are very, very critical to being systematic and getting things done as a leader in your organization. Small things. Culture is very, very critical. So I want to end this by just repeating these 4 things for you that will help you to be systematic to achieve your goals. Number 1, your strategy and your goals are very, very critical. That is what many people like and enjoy. They have a good strategy. But number 2, your processes and your structure must be in place. Your processes, your accountability processes, your structure, your roles and your responsibilities must be in place. Number three, your metrics and your measures must be in place. Your monitoring and evaluation framework. How do you know that you are making progress? How do you measure progress? How do you know that things are happening? How do you know that things are not happening? And the last one, your culture and behavior must be adjusted. The culture of your organization, the culture of your team must be adjusted and must be looked at. And if you do that, you'll be systematic and you'll move forward as a leader in your organization. May God bless you as you continue to listen to new other content that we are bringing in this leadership lessons with Dr. Stanley Maposa. Subscribe. That's a button there. Subscribe, like, share, comment. This is your channel. Thank you very much.